guys, Tbo2 here, back with another episode of my TARDIS tutorial. In this episode we're going to be doing a TARDIS console entity that can be separate from the TARDIS itself and yet maintain some of its functionality. This is based primarily on the episode Inferno, in which the TARDIS console was removed from the TARDIS, but still kind of had some of its functionality. It could still kind of teleport around and such. So let's just begin. So we can use this item, the TARDIS console core, to summon it like so. You can see here's our TARDIS console, and already you can see the menu, but we'll get to that in a moment. It's very plain, very small. You can make it really as big or as interesting or really look however you want, but this is just what I have for example's sake. And as you saw, if we walk up close to the TARDIS, a menu will pop up. Now this menu will only pop up for the pilot of the TARDIS, nobody else can use it, but if we wanted to, we could set the time to dawn as such. We could set the time to dusk as such, and we can also teleport with the TARDIS or delete the console. If we wanted to teleport, we would just click right here, and as you can see, we've moved. We're over there, and now we're over here, and it made a neat little sound as well. Now the sound is because of a resource pack I'm using, so you may or may not have the sound just depending on which version of my resource pack you're using, if you're using it at all. But this sound, I think, is quite akin to the one we hear in the episode when the TARDIS teleports. And it basically just teleports us randomly in a 50-block radius. You can see that time it just happened to move us closer to where we were before. But if we try it again, it probably won't. Nope, we're farther again. And you can see, obviously, the TARDIS console comes with us each time we teleport, which honestly is really nice. But you can see, final option is we can delete the TARDIS, like so. So how does this all work? Well, it basically just corresponds to these, and honestly, it's not as complex as it looks. This here is for the summoning process, and we are just executing if entity at e nbt equals inventory, and then you're going to open some square brackets, curly brackets, ID, and then within there, Minecraft Echo Shard, slot -106b, which is our offhand slot, and then the tags we want on it are custom :1, just to make it distinguished from other items, so that you can't say use normal Echo Shard to do this. And then we're going to have display name, text, TARDIS console core, and then close all your brackets. And then we're also doing unless entity at e name equals console entity, just so that we can't summon a TARDIS console if there's already one existing in the world. That's optional, I guess, if you really want. But if that player is found and if there is no TARDIS console entity, it's going to activate this comparator, and then activate these two command blocks. Now it's in order of which one's touching the comparator first, which would be this one, and then this one. So first it'll do this, which is executing at a tag equals pilot. So you need to be the pilot of the TARDIS in order for this to work. However, you could change that again if you wanted to. So executing at that entity, run summon armor stand at their coordinates, custom name console entity, and then disabled slots, you just make that a very high number and you won't be able to put anything in the armor stand's hand or take anything out of it. And then you're going to want to do invisible :1 and invulnerable :1. Now really here the only thing that's required would be the console entity name, just so that the entity can't be targeted later on. Right after that you want this command to run, and this command is going to clear at a tag equals pilot Echo Shard, which has custom and the custom name, and it's clearing one of them. So basically, it'll take it from your inventory after it summons the entity. Now, as for the entity itself, it's obviously just an armor stand, as I said. Now, how do we make it look like the TARDIS console? Well, that's where these come in. These are just summoning falling blocks. Now, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll probably not deal with these. Just look at TARDIS Tutorial Part 1, that covers falling blocks, and we are just executing as the console entity, and that's where we're summoning the falling blocks. And obviously these are just, say, quartz slabs and quartz blocks, and then at the top a glass block, just so that we can get that console appearance. This only uses 6 falling blocks total, however you can use as many as you want to make this TARDIS console look exactly however you want. Now over here, this is going to bring up that menu, and so it is executing as the console entity, at s if entity at a tag equals pilot distance equals ... 2, meaning if you're within a distance of 2 blocks, we of course want this on repeat and always active, so it's constantly searching for that, and if it finds it, it'll activate the comparator and thus activate this chain of command blocks. Now, as with any chain, you're going to want all of these arrows facing the same way, and you're going to want these command blocks to be on chain, conditional, and always active, so that they activate one after another after this is activated. Now what is this? This is doing tell raw at a tag equals pilot, and then you're opening your curly brackets, text, console menu, comma, color, colon, blue. You can do whatever color you want, and whatever you want for this. This is just, saying console menu at the top of the menu. And then as for the menu options themselves, we have 4 here. Now this one is very simple. It is tell raw at a tag equals pilot, set the time to dawn, and that's what our text is saying. You don't need those square brackets, those are just for decoration. Color red, and then this is the thing that makes it actually work. We have click event, colon, you want to open curly brackets, action, colon, run command. So when you click it, it's going to run a command basically, and then comma, and then you're going to open this value, and this will be what the command actually is. So colon, and then within your quotations again, you're going to want execute as at e name equals console entity, add at s, if entity at e tag equals pilot, distance equals less than 2. So at its coordinates, if the pilot is within a distance of 2 or less, it is going to time set 0. So basically what that means is if you're within 2 blocks of your console and you're of course the pilot, and you press the button to set the time to dawn, it is going to do that. And likewise, setting the time to dusk is exactly the same thing, except we have time set night. This third block here is for the teleporting function, which is by far the most advanced. So for this one, you're just going to have a text that reads teleport, and then when you click it, the command it is going to run is execute as at e name equals console entity at s, if entity at e tag equals pilot, distance equals ... 2. So again, if the pilot's within a distance of 2, it is going to set block at certain coordinates, a redstone block. So what are those certain coordinates? Those would be right here. So yeah, and what is this going to do once the redstone block ends up here? Well, it's immediately going to run this command block, which is setting the block immediately underneath it to air, but it will have time to activate these 3 command blocks here. So this again is another chain with some chain command blocks. And what is it doing? Well, we're starting here, and it is executing as at a tag equals pilot at s, run play sound, and then you would just do a play sound command of whatever sound you want. In this case, it's TARDIS close, which is from my resource pack, ambient at a distance equals ... 10, so that it plays to every player within a distance of 10 blocks. This is the relative coordinates, which you just want to do tildes. This is the volume, this is the pitch, and this is the minimum volume. And again, you can really customize this to your heart's content. But after that runs, you're going to want to immediately run the actual teleport itself. So let's start here. This is execute as at e name equals console entity at s. If the pilot's within a distance of 2, it's going to run the spread players command, which just randomly teleports you within a certain radius. Relative to its coordinates, the spread distance is 50, the maximum range is 50, and obviously you can set these to whatever you want, but this is what I have them set to, just so that you're not teleporting too terribly far away, or else the chunks might unload, which would not be good. And then this is for respect teams, which is a scoreboard feature, which I've just set to false. And lastly, we have at s, meaning the entity being teleported is the entity specified here, which is console entity. And lastly, if that is successful, it'll run this command, which is execute as the console entity at s, run tp at e tag equals pilot, 2 blocks in the x direction from it. So this is just teleporting basically the pilot to the console entity and about 2 blocks away from it on the x-axis. So yeah, really that's all there is to it. The last one would be just the delete command, which is just kill the TARDIS console entity. Very straightforward. You can add whatever other functions you want, but I wanted to keep this simplistic. So yeah, let's demonstrate one last time. We just use this item to summon the TARDIS, and you can see it used up one of the item. And when we walk up close, it brings up the menu. It has our little menu tab right here, and then it has our 4 options. Set time to dawn, obviously that is just our time set command, and it only works if we're within a certain radius of the TARDIS. See, it won't do anything now. If we do it over here and we do time set dusk, it will set it to night. If we teleport, it'll teleport us, do our play sound command, and as you saw, it spawned us right here, so that we're not directly inside the console, so that we're kind of beside it. And then lastly, our last option is delete, which obviously self-explanatory, deletes it. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. This has been my removable TARDIS console feature. Hope you all enjoyed. I've been Tibo2. Be sure to subscribe, to follow my Instagram, Tibo2it, to follow my Twitter, which is also Tibo2it, to join my Discord, and lastly, to have a nice day. Goodbye.